Hey guys, welcome back to another battle report. This time it's Saga and it's the club tournament again. This is game 3. So this is my Welsh against the Scots, and we're doing the Battle of Warlords. So this is the way you have to damage the opponent's warlord. My Warband is, as you see there, 8 Hearthguard, 8 warriors, and a Light Priest, and 12 level with bow. My opponent Scots has 2 units of 6 Hearthguard. I think they're the guys that will be undercoated, level 6 man units, 2 units of 8 warriors, and 12 level with bow. So this is the setup. So my guy had to set up right in the centre. My opponents had to set up, I think it's within M of him. So at the moment I'm in a bit of a situation. It's a long way to go. And after my first 2 games, I decided to do something slightly different with my warbands. I've broken them down into smaller units. I know my opponent likes using his shooting and his long spears to do damage to me from afar, which is good for me. Well, good for him against me, as my armour is lower against range shooting. So to try to cover that up, I've broken my units down into smaller units and trying to cover them with my levy. So on my opponent's side of the table, he has 8 Hearthguard on the right hand side there. Then he's got 8 Hearthguard in the black, they're the painted ones. Behind him he's got 8 Hearthguard, 8 warriors, sorry, that's 2 units, 8 warriors. 6 Hearthguard behind the 8 warriors, and 6 Hearthguard to the left, and his warlord out front. And finally, you can see on the left-hand side there, he has his 12 levy with bow. And so my opponent has first turn, and he moves up, as you can see, and tries to do some, I believe, some jabbing with his board there. As I say, my units down the bottom, you can go see a big 8-man Hearthguard unit. I don't see any point in breaking these down to 4, makes them too fragile and too easy to damage. I've got 2 6-man units of levy. I'm basically using these guys to screen my warriors, and I've got a 6 warrior, 5 warrior, and there'll be another 5 warrior just below the woods there. So my basic thinking of breaking my units up like this is because I pretty much activate all my units using Rising Out, I believe it is, which activates all my warriors and levy, and so I get to move all of them, so it doesn't matter how many units I get, 2 dice will move all of them. And it's an activation as well, so it's not necessarily a move, I just can't engage with it, I believe. Anyway, I get some shots off here against his Scots. And move up, as you can see there. Basically, I did my move. I believe I moved up with my Hearthguard, and then everyone moved up again thanks to the one that allowed me to move with an L. So and that second move doesn't give me fatigue, so that's why everyone's moved up and there's no fatigue on board. I think down the bottom left hand side I have my enlightened priest, who is praying pretty hard to get me plenty of 6s to do this stuff. So my opponent moves up, as you can see, and just plays down his battle board so he can have his little mini orders phase in the beginning of my orders phase when he can go all defensive. So yeah, I start activating up again and start shooting as much as I can to do some damage. And I finished moving up, as you can see. I wasn't too impressed, to be honest. I was hoping to do some more damage, and you can see not much is done. My warlord's in a pretty safe space with those Hearthguard there, so I'm pretty happy as things are going. And unfortunately, he moves up and uses his long spear range attack, which basically gives him javelins. And as you can see, there's, I believe that's his 2 Hearthguard units. Yeah, I managed to wipe out half my Hearthguard. Not great. And that was with just 1 attack. I think if you put like the rare dice on it, I think you can use it with 2 units. So this is 2 lots of javelins at them, and reduce them by half again. So that's 2 remaining Hearthguard, and that's not going to leave with very much to fight with. And then my opponent starts throwing things into combat. I believe he's got him with his warlord and his his warriors there. Another bonus for this game was the fact that you can gain additional points for each time your warlord goes into combat. And then he tries to finish off my Hearthguard. 6 on 2, not good odds for me. That's probably going to be a fatigue on my warlord. So yeah, wipes out fatigue on my warlord, and I believe that was also fatigue on the unit next to him there. So they've built up on fatigue there. I don't know what the other one was for. It was probably for some pew-pewing. And over here, yes, this warlord goes in and beats up my guys. But no damage done to me, so I'm okay there. And I managed to take out one of theirs, so I'm happy with that. And on the far side, my levy gets hit. and managed to survive, just being an annoyance really. It gives me one more extra bow shot each time I activate all my warriors and levy, so I can't really argue with that. So since he had moved away, I decided to go for the warriors guarding his warlord. This might give me a chance then to do a counter charge with my warlord and again some supporting warriors. And believe it or not, yes, I didn't do anything and I got bounced. So back into my warlord going by himself. I think I ended up shooting with my other warrior units to try and weaken him, and that failed as well. So yeah, he managed to wipe out his opponent's warriors and put some fatigue on the enemy warlord. And of course, as part of his action, he also throws these other guys into the flank. So at least there should be one less attacks coming my way, as long as not too many defensive abilities up. I think this is the main problem. If I keep charging multiple units, he could only use defensive abilities once, because the Scots have some awesome defensive abilities, and definitely is making me pay for it in this game. And things are looking pretty pants at the moment. Yeah, it's definitely not a good look for me. I've got very few models left. I've still got my warrior priest giving me generating Saga dice. I've got 2 warrior units generating Saga dice, and I have my warlord 2. So I've still got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's not completely out of the way. I've got enough Saga dice to do stuff, and I've got my priest there to pray for something that I might need. And a volley of shots comes my way. And these guys come in and wipe out the 2 warriors that are below my warlord there. Yeah, that'll be another fatigue on my warlord now. So as you can see, things aren't looking too great at the moment. All I've got is what you can see there, and of course I've got my my priest down the bottom of the table somewhere hiding away, and hopefully not trying not to get killed. So there wasn't too much of a chance to get too many wounds on him. I mean, he's got his warrior there, but I thought if I charge in, get a few hits on him, and also the scenario, there's an extra bonus for how many times you can charge with your warlord. I know at the end of this game I actually got that, so at least my warlord went in more times than his did, and I just try to get a few more wounds on him. And with, I think it's Children of the Land, which allows me to move through terrain relatively easily, I just dart up into the woods. He starts moving his guys up to try and chase my warlord. And yeah, as you can see, we're getting towards the end now. And we're pushing for time, so I had to get a few rounds in. Basically, he goes in and chases my warlord through the woods. And I just try and escape the best I can. He survives. Unfortunately, there was a round I should have got out of. I didn't, and I think I was one wound worse off on my warlord. So unfortunately, I lost the game. But I did get my warlord's bonus for getting to more combat than my opponent's warlord, who stayed well out of it. But again, this is another struggle for my Welsh. I'm still struggling to understand these guys. I think it was more interesting breaking up the units a lot. Downside is the lack of firepower. Really does annoy. I mean, I know I'm activating all my units, but it's nice just to be able to activate one unit and get quite a few shots off. Also, my Hearthguard, they went down so quick. That was really upsetting. I forgot about the spear effectively giving the Scots javelins. So he can have up to 2 units if he uses his rare dice. So he has 2 javelin attacks, and of course he did that with his Hearthguard first, and yeah, pretty much blinked mine out. So I'm really not sure on the Hearthguard option for the Welsh. I'm thinking definitely going down in the all warriors and levy thing look for the moment. But I've actually got up against Welsh next for the final game, and we'll see how that goes. So now only one more video and I'll give these away. In addition to the Saga rulebook, the 4 starting cards, the 2 lots of dice you can see there, and the 4 Hearthguard / Berserkers for Vike. I'm also throwing in something else, but that's going to be a little prize for the person who receives it.